Yes. Welcome everyone to our musings. Today we're going to be covering a little bit of what happened to us in this past week. I've got a little bit to talk about negative capability. We've got a little bit to talk about artistry as well.
Artistry? Okay.
Artistry.
I want to talk about missing running.
Okay.
Missing the things that sometimes suck. So I'll jump right into it. We were meandering and chatting away about this just recently, but yeah, for the folks out there, mere mortals, I unfortunately rolled my ankle, and
he could have been drinking with me and a friend of mine, but he chose to run.
I chose to run.
A stupid decision.
Can you imagine this? So I went for a run, and unbeknownst to me, the world didn't want me to run that day. Obviously, hit a rock, hit a ditch. There goes my run and my ankle. So 200 meters into a 3K run, it was all she wrote. And initially I thought, man, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to run now for 2 weeks. I almost started thinking, because I'm on holidays in a week or so, and I started thinking, gee, maybe I won't run for 3 weeks. And I was a little bit giddy with excitement. I was like, yes, because if you've listened to us for a little while, I dislike running. But almost 2 days into not running, I almost felt a little bit of just missing the run. And I was trying to converse with you. Was it the discipline of running? Was it running itself as an activity? I'm going to say 70% of the discipline of the running. But yeah, still part of me, I was like, oh man, I kind of miss a little bit of this running in there. And it was almost that, one of my monthly goals is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable at least once a month, or once a week, sorry. And yeah, the running almost fit into that sort of schedule, because I was always really uncomfortable with it, but I was coming out of it feeling energized, or feeling almost not happy, but at least content that I did it. So yeah, somehow I'm saying I'm missing running at the moment, which is it's a pretty big call. You would never have thought me say this, but yeah, there you go. So sometimes the things which we feel are horrible or we might dislike, once they go away, you kind of realize, again, perspective, like, ooh.
Is it the improvement aspect sort of thing? What I like about it is that I've got a PB that I can set, and it's sort of a winner takes all type of PB. Yeah. Either I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it. A bunch of other exercises like pull-ups and things like that, yeah, I might have a PB, but it could be a PB across at 20 kilos or a PB pull-ups just without any weights on, or whatever. So it hasn't got that same feeling as a 5K run. You've got this time, and you just got to try and beat that, essentially.
You know what it reminds me of? I won't compare. This is the reason why I enjoy it. But did you ever play Mario Kart?
Bits and pieces. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know, in Mario Kart you would play time trial. In the time trial you'd go against your own ghosts and against your own laps. It kind of feels that way, almost, because I'm running around almost the same area. So it's not around a park area, but it's a park / a section of road near where we live. And yeah, because I'm continuously going over that particular position, it almost feels like it's time trial against myself. It's not anything else. It's even, I don't know, lifting almost seems a little bit, while it is against yourself, it's a little bit external as well, because you can compare yourself really easily. But I think I've talked about it before, with running, I compare it less with anything else. It's just it's just who I am running, and that's the times I'm doing. So it almost feels like I'm like playing Mario Kart, time trialing against myself and my own ghost. But yeah, I think there's part of it about, that PRing your 5K or 10K run that's enjoyable. But at the same time, so it was Monday, I was supposed to go run for a 5.5 Ks, but 3 Ks into it, it's not like I felt like I was going at a good pace, although for me it was like, yep, it was a good pace, but I felt like I was enjoying it. So I thought, I'll just run 10 Ks today. Like, sure, let's just do it. And I did 10 Ks, and I felt like, oh yeah, that was good fun to do the 10 Ks. And that wasn't driven by, I'm going to beat my time. Totally, if there was some portion of that, but another part of me was like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this run. Let's just keep going, which is a good feeling.
Yeah, there's something nice about seeing new stuff as well. I used to run around just a block or a circle thing, but I actually run right around here, past here in South Bank, and I've grown to appreciate just being able to have all this different sort of scenery and things to look at and whatnot while going as well.
How well do you see when you run?
Oh, fine. Yeah.
I feel like my eyeballs are too bouncy.
Yeah.
In my head, in my cranium. Maybe my eyeball socket is a little bit too large. But when I'm running...
If I'm doing well, I focus on the ground probably about 5 meters ahead of me. I don't really look up that much. So if it's a run where I know it's sort of going to be shit anyway, that's where I'll spend a bit more time looking around and I guess appreciating stuff. If I'm in the zone and I'm really hitting it hard, then it's less about that.
5 meters ahead? Okay.
Yeah.
When I know that I'm in the zone or I'm the flow of a run, I know that I'm looking 50 meters ahead of me. I've got a really straight back and I'm actively pulling myself up sort of feeling towards the sky sort of feeling. That's when I feel I'm like, oh yeah, I'm at a good running pace. Once it starts coming down, I feel like I'm completely gone.
I have started noticing that when I run barefoot, I think the difference between barefoot and the reason I have probably set all my PBs barefoot is I definitely toe strike when I'm doing that, whereas when I'm running with these shoes on here, I'm definitely heel striking more, which I think
could be the weight.
Either isn't as smooth, isn't as efficient. Maybe you've talked a bit about leaning forward into the run as well. When I'm toe striking, I'm going to be leaning forward more, so it could be that sort of momentum thing. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but yeah.
Actually, one thing about running before I get off it as well, Anders Avalna was talking about this, and and he's not expert in it, but it was just something that they were discussing as a group, was just you should have the ability to like sprint at any moment, no matter what it is. Like if you're just woken up, it's midnight, it's whatever, you should be mobile enough to like sprint like that. And I got his point, but I was a little bit like, I want to be able to just run at any given point without injuring myself where it isn't stupid. Like I'm not going to say that I'm going to run straight after I get a massage. Like that is a recipe for like destroying some ligaments because they just look loose. But if you can't at any day go for a run, I think that's maybe a little cue to be like, oh, there's something wrong. It's like I'm not suggesting like if you just wake up and you can't run, there's something wrong. But if throughout a day, for the whole day, you can't run, I'll say, okay, something is physically wrong. And that could be like, legitimately, you could have like rolled ankle, you could have other sicknesses, obviously something wrong. But if your only excuse is like, oh, I'm overweight, or I just can't because I'm really unfit, well, okay, or there's an issue there.
I'm too tired from work, that sort of thing.
Something's wrong with it, yes.
Yeah. Have you heard of negative capability?
No, I haven't.
So there's a cool concept I came across, which it helped me explain something I was trying to get at.
Where did you come across it?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in my immortal moment. So it's called the willingness to embrace uncertainty, or there's, I guess, sort of the definition. The willingness to embrace uncertainty, live with mystery, and make peace with ambiguity. So it's actually finding that zone where you're in a paradox or some sort, and being able to unlock it. Well, I'll mention it now. So it's actually from John Keats, the poet. And in it, he only mentioned this once in one of his letters, but it actually sort of took hold and became, I guess, a concept. And basically, he was talking about how the best artists, they need to actually not go too much into the rational, into the scientific, and that there's actually something to be gained by living in that world where things don't particularly make sense, where you're not exactly sure what you're doing, and that's where the best artistry comes from. Now, this didn't particularly apply to me, and I've been thinking about this a lot probably the past couple of months, and it didn't particularly apply in the artistry sense, in the sense that I want to be a better artist. Yeah. But I do think there is something really, really valuable about somehow being able to get very, very comfortable living with a paradox. So living with the fact that it's better to be healthy, but also it's better to allow yourself hedonistic urges and to eat that whole chocolate bar or whatever, and that both of those can be healthy at the same time. I think there's something really important in that, and I think you sort of touched upon it in this. So I've got some questions for you from this. So another description that for me was no need for irritable reaching after fact and reason, sort of like we all have an endpoint, and where is yours? So when do you decide to stop asking why? You're going to have to explain
that one again.
So you can always be reaching after a reason or a fact or something like that. So we were talking about testosterone recently, and you were starting to talk about energy systems and ATP and whatnot. Now, I particularly didn't care, so I was prepared to leave it there. But someone else might have been, okay, but what actually is ATP? And then get you to explain that. And then, okay, what actually is the transfer method that it goes from food into what's the whole system. So there is obviously an endpoint where you need to stop asking why, and I'm sort of curious as to what is your endpoint when you are perhaps looking up a stock, for example. When do you stop deciding, you know what, here's a good point to stop, I don't need to research this more?
Interesting question. I think, because it depends on the topic of what you're talking about, but say particularly for us, let's say a stock or a company, it'd be to the point where I've got personal satisfaction that maybe my risk levels or tolerances have been met. So when a point of tolerance is like achieved to what my expectations are, then that's where I stop in the why questioning. So again, an example might be, let's take a real one, Tyro. Should you invest Tyro? Okay, why should I? Okay, well it's in the banking space, financial space. Okay, and why should that matter for me? Okay, because over the last 2 years, it's that sort of sector's been going well, especially the digital area. Okay, why do you still think that particular company? Okay, well, they deal more with credit cards, and I have an idea that maybe cash is going to go down and the use of credit cards is going to go up. Okay, so again, and why is this particular company or another company is doing it? And I might go and have a look at their financials and the last previous year's report and how long they've been in business, and that to me, I go, okay, that's sort of maybe run my own hypothesis. It's met my tolerance levels. Maybe I could go down maybe a couple of other Y levels as well, but that's reached the point where it's met my ideal going of, okay, yep, that's assured me that, okay, that's a good enough thing. I want to hear one of your examples, because it's going to be very particular to an example or like an area.
Yeah, so I'll choose one such as, I want to know more about... I had a list of all these things that I created a couple of years ago of stuff that I wanted to investigate. So philosophy, for example, is one of them.
Yep. And
for me, it's sort of a gradual thing, because I get bored if I focus on just one thing. So I'm not the type of person who will read a book about philosophy and then see the bibliography at the back and then go, I'm going to read every single one of these books next. And I think you're pretty much similar, which is there is a pretty quick endpoint for us when we reach something and we've done a bit of research and it's like, nope, okay, no, I just, there's nothing more for me here. I don't need to understand more.
Is a polyglot someone who studies like a lot of things and knows a lot of things? Is that a polyglot? Because you got a polymath.
Polyglot is in particular to languages.
Right, and polymath would be particular to mathematics?
I would guess so, yeah.
So whatever it is for doing a lot of things and doing them all really mediocrely, that's me. So maybe that can be mere mortals. That's probably a mere mortal. But whatever that example, if it fits that mere mortal, that's me.
A polymortal.
Polymortal. Yeah.
There you go. So I think my answer is sort of similar to yours, which is a little bit unsatisfactory, but it's when I've reached personal satisfaction. And so that's not really an answer. It's just an answer for me. It's not an answer to help other people out per se.
Okay, so let's broaden it so it provides some context to someone actually listening to this and go, okay, well, how the hell am I going to apply this to us? One, mere mortals out there. I'd say when asking the next why reduces the value to you personally. In a specific sense, like you'll always reach a point where the extra why is diminishing returns. So asking another why here might give you an extra 1% of a surety or tolerance to what you expect or to lowering your risk. But if you've already gone from, the 99% risk to 20% risk, and you're happy with the 20% risk, and you can, ask extra whys, which might have extra effort to take you to 19%, and for you 20, that theoretical 20% is enough. Okay, that's where you should know to stop. So when the extra question of a why is just diminishing returns to the value, then that's cool. So an example for stocks here. So let's talk companies. For me, I've probably got a higher risk tolerance because I've got an income coming in that I can use to do my share trading and all that. And for me, I really like where the financial, digital, tech sector is going. So there's a lot of options there. And I almost leverage it at the point of, okay, once it gets to a company that's in that space, I'm kind of happy. As long as they've got some good financials, cool. Sure, I could then delve it down into specifics and where they're looking at, the areas. But for me, I'm happy enough and the risk tolerance is, looking into this more might give me an extra, 5-6% on the year. But to be honest, the whole sector's going up in a good manner. And for me, it's more valuable to just be in than not be in. So I'm just going to go in. So.
Yeah. Another thing I read recently in the book, An Introduction to Buddhism, by the Dalai Lama, of all people, translated by Thungten Jinpa, I think. My man Thungten.
Go on, yeah, Thungten.
He had this sort of... he was talking about how people can keep on questioning, and it's continually asking that why. And what he was saying was, essentially you can get to two weird extremes, which is one... someone who becomes like an absolutist, as in you keep asking why, and you're trying to reach for the fact that there is only a certain answer to it. So, you know, why is the sky blue? Oh, okay, because the light hits the atmosphere and it, you know, it refracts in this way. Oh, okay, but why does the light hit the atmosphere? Oh, it's because, you know, light travels in a straight line and all these sorts of things. And they're trying to reach for a point where it's an absolute thing. This is
the
this.
base.
Yeah. And then there's others, which is more the nihilistic sort of view, the extreme, which is you keep asking why, and the point of asking why is to get to someone to say, I don't know, or there is no point. You know, why does it go in a straight line? Because that's just the law of the universe. Why is that a law of the universe? I don't know. It's kind of arbitrary.
Yeah.
And then they'll go, I got you. That's, you know.
Yeah, or it could be, it could be more durable. It could be like, oh, you know, I want to get a new bed. Why? Because I want to be comfortable. But why do you want to be comfortable? Because it's a good thing that as a human. Or why do you enjoy being as human?
Yep.
Blah, 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 blah. Oh, like, there's no point in being a human.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You should be a robot.
Yeah. So in the book, he says, well, one of the things with this is emptiness. And I'm going to tie this back to what I was talking about with negative capability, which is emptiness as a way... in the Buddhist term is sort of just being is. What is, what was, what will be. And there is a inherent value in being able to have that, because you won't go to either of those extremes where it's either black or white, or it's you know, zeroness. It's sort of in between. It's both of them and it's none of them at the same time. And this gets back to negative capability, which is that same concept. Being able to live in paradox, being able to live without searching too much, but still striving, which I think does have some inherent value in it.
Definitely.
Have you got any more musings?
I don't. I was empty-handed with the musings,
Ooh.
especially this week. Well, I will say that one thing I have learned in the past week as well is that sometimes there are some weeks that are going to come about where there wasn't much progress in a lot of things. So in my little daily sort of little tracker that I have, of, you know, how well's going. There was a lot of days which were really good, but it was because I was just like flat out doing a lot of things. So, when you've got 8 hours of work, plus you're trying to do, say, running, plus working out, plus trying to do like a side startup, plus you're doing something for the mere mortals, plus you're trying to read, plus you're trying to like talk to your girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. There's so many things. You're like, a lot of time just went through just on sort of like almost the required things that you'd expect. So there wasn't anything that was fairly new, and I did come to the end of a lot of my podcasts, so a lot of my time has been spent on exploring other new things, which actually I will say that's part of amusing. I was really stuck into the usual Tim Ferriss, Dave Asprey, you know, Mind Valley, a couple of other podcasts, and now that I started exploring a few different ones, I have just realized how hard it is to find a good podcast out there. Like, even just going through the top, 100 and listening to a couple, or searching for a particular topic, god damn, it's hard. I'm like, geez, this is really difficult. Not as easy as what you'd find on YouTube, like where you find a topic and you can easily go and find others. Yeah, podcast just does not allow that. I was like,
it's a bit of a weird space because it doesn't have the SEO associated with it to really know what's good and what's not. Like, they don't, when you're on Spotify and going through podcast, I haven't found the recommendations for it to be that what helpful? I'm after.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have learned by now that I'm looking for, kind of small Aussie podcasts, which I can give a listen to and see if I like. That's not what it's promoting for me. It's promoting all this sort of different stuff.
It can get better. Spotify and Apple.
Get your shit sorted.
All
right, I've got another. There's sort of getting onto the other bit of the negative capability, which is the artistry side.
Oh, yes, okay.
We were talking not too long ago about, and I asked you the question, if I gave you 10 years, you have sufficient money, you have sufficient, just, non-life threatening things going on with your life, would you be able to create a song that would get into the top 100, top 200 of the Australian charts? And you said no to that.
No.
And I wanted to dive a bit deeper into that and ask why. Why is it that you don't think? Is it because you think there's something in that artistry sense, especially in music, that you're not capable of? Like, it's just something that doesn't exist in your brain?
Nah, I almost think it's... I think about it even beyond myself. I hazard to guess that there's probably, of all the people that that do make it, there's probably 99% who don't make it, who are actually actively trying for those 10 years to make it and don't even make it. So I extend that even to myself, where I know I don't have almost a want to do that, and I also know I have no particular capabilities in right now unless I start building them up. So I almost think I'm too many feet behind even people who want to. So it puts me at a percentage of that really I don't think that's going to happen.
See, I don't believe that. I think that there's something about the artistic industry which glorifies this uniqueness. It's almost like it glorifies this thing that only you particularly have, and there's nothing that the I guess in consistent showing up, putting in the work, it can't overcome. So a good book on this is The War of Art, where Stephen Pressfield's talking about resistance. He's talking about being an artist, but you have to put in the work to get there. And I sort of have a feeling that anyone that this industry, that where it's 99% of people don't make it, I would probably believe that they're not putting in the work, as in
the effort,
the 10 years that it could take to become a top 200 artist. So I would say, so if you did apply yourself, for example, let's just say I flicked a switch in your brain, and now it's just a goal of yours to get in the top 200. Do you think, with the way your brain currently works, that you would be able to make it? So you've already got, the work ethic, for example. You've already got
I still don't think so.
The IQ to think logically about problems that you could face, such as, having to deal with these certain people who are the gatekeepers of the industry. Maybe I need to get in with them. Maybe I need to, be very light on my feet and not invest too much into becoming the best saxophone player, and maybe I need to be a jack of all trades, that sort of thing. Is it something that you think that can be worked at even if you don't have a particular skill in it?
Okay, I'll change my mind. If it also includes that I can also switch on being incredibly passionate, or the want to do it, okay, then yes, I'll say yes. But if it's me right now, who I am, there's no way that's going to happen.
No, it's sort of that's part of the deal. That you have
so I'll spin it on you. So say it's not in the artistic sense. Let's say it wasn't artistic, and let's just say I'll say, if I told you had to build a $10 billion business in the next 5 years, do you think you could do it?
Maybe not 5 years. If you gave me 40 years,
okay,
maybe.
Right.
I think I could have a good crack at it.
Right. Do you think you would have to want it, or even if you didn't want it, you could be like, okay,
no, I'd definitely have to want it. For sure.
So I'm assuming you're coming from the point then, from an artistic sense, you could, if you had to, get a top 200 song, you do it in 10 years. I have a feeling that, yes, I understand that it does require a lot of, there is a component of ingenuity, of having your brain think in a certain way to be able to combine something together that was never combined before. But I also think that you can create that yourself. And I think that if I studied hard and diligently for 10 years, I would be able to create that same spark. Maybe it wouldn't be the level of a Picasso genius but it would be able to get in the top 200.
Or something like that. But I think it would be sufficient enough to get into that top league level where most artists would, die for.
Okay.
And, look, I could totally be wrong. I honestly only know a couple of sort of real artist type people, but that's sort of what I'm getting at. The artist type people that I know, they're not diligently showing up to work every single day. It has that mystique of, you know, I am an artist. I'll come when the muse comes to me, sort of thing, which makes me think.
Yeah,
Man,
if you really hectic
if you put in quadruple the effort, yes, you'd be a lot further ahead.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I agree with how some people say, some writers, they'll basically just sit down and start writing, and it doesn't matter what the hell they're writing. They'll just keep writing until they get the allotted amount of time, and then from that they might grab 10% that's actually valuable, but that 10% will help build on their book or their writings or their poems or anything they're doing, and at least they're doing something as opposed to nothing because you don't feel like it, or the muse is not with you or something like that. So yeah, I guess if you really discipline yourself, I could see how that could be beneficial. Yeah.
Well, that's just my I suppose little spiel for today.
I like it. Nah, I've got nothing else to muse upon.
I've got nothing else as well.
Give me a mere mortal moment.
Yeah, so my mere mortal moment is Keats, you bloody brilliant madman. And it was just an appreciation of finding someone who it wasn't exactly what I was searching for, because I was searching for something more the fact that I just came across this randomly and was like, oh, that's actually a concept I've really been trying to nail down for myself. And it's not exactly what I wanted, but it gets pretty close to the heart of that living in paradox, which I was hoping for. So Keats, you bloody brilliant madman. Dang. Kudos to you.
There you go. Mine was don't be stupid to your body if you don't have to be. And this was a little bit more of towards the twisting of the ankle, because even though I was a little bit missing it, I actually actively wanted to get back into it a little bit earlier. I thought maybe I can do it Saturday, and it was 70% healed. And I thought, no, don't be stupid to my body.
Yeah, man,
just let it heal.
Good.
So, Mere Mortals, that has been all. Of course, you can find us on Mere Mortals Podcast on YouTube as well. Type in Mere Mortals, or you can go youtube.com.
Type in Mere Mortals Podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Because, there is that woodwork Mere Mortal dude who will still have a lot to go. He's got like 2 million followers or whatever it is. And we got our work cut out there. So, my little call out for people at home is, again, we've done a couple of different locations. Did the wind distract you? Did the mozzies biting me distract you? It definitely distracted me. I was like getting smashed by mozzies.
Good.
Or midgies, or whatever you want to call
midgies,
them. Can you hear people in the background? But above all else, also forward it to someone else who hasn't listened. Just to see if they enjoy it.
Do it.
Folks, that's it. Immortals, one out.
Current out.
Ooh.
Do it.